One of my favorites. I've known this man for quite some time. Last time I saw him was at the NFL Honors at the Super Bowl. Feels like 19 years ago. But it was great to see this guy then, and it'll be great to see him in Wild Mountain Thyme, available in theaters and on demand this very Friday, December 11th, with Emily Blunt, Jamie Dornan, Christopher Walken, and this man, Jon Hamm. How are you, John?
Hey-o! What a nice tee up. That was amazing.
John, it's what I do for a living. You know what I mean? It's what I do for a living.
You do it well.
Tee it up and set it up and do all of that stuff. And
which I guess is a good segue for me to promote my new job, defensive coordinator for the New York Jets.
Hey!
Jon Hamm is going to be bringing the heat when appropriate, not say, when the heat was just brought.
The only thing that could beat you is to be beat deep on a double move that you fight on somehow. I don't know. I'm sure that's been dissected backwards and forwards.
Yes.
We've got football on Tuesday afternoons. The world is upside down, you guys.
They literally, you have to think about it, John. If the Jets had taken all 11 of their defenders and lied them down on the goal line, head to,
they win the game.
Toe to head, just in case Henry Ruggs would have had to maybe trip over them, and he would have been out of.
Game.
You know what I mean? Just that would have been a better defensive posture, I think.
It was a curious call. It begs the question: how bad do you want a quarterback from Clemson?
Well, I can answer that question, John, badly, very, very badly.
Clearly.
Yes.
I don't know. The world's upside down. You said it correctly, Rich. It seems like the Super Bowl, which was less than a year ago,
right?
Seems like it was in the 40s.
I know. But that was a fun night. I mean, it's not your first NFL Honors rodeo as well. You've been around a lot of people of note in your lifetime, John, but that is pretty cool to be back there, right? For an NFL Honors.
It's always cool to meet those guys, and especially when you get the young guys and how wide-eyed and amazed they all are. And weirdly enough, Zeke Elliott, who I had never met before, although we did go to the same high school, I got to meet him that night and ask him how it felt to be the second most popular person from our high school.
And how do you take that one?
You got a chuckle out of that. So I thought that was nice. We both won the same amount of championships, so I feel like we're good.
Now, was that a courtesy chuckle, or did he really find that funny, do you think, John? I mean, I'm
going to go with he really thought it was funny.
Okay. So I remember
back out of the conversation very quickly.
Yes, because I remember Kyler Murray was back there, Peyton Manning was back there. I mean, everyone was back there.
Yeah, we had Favre was there. It was like it's such a good group. It feels like you're kind of crashing a really cool summer camp reunion of a camp that you had no business at.
and then it's time for you to actually, go out on stage, and you're like, really, do I have to go? Because you just don't want to leave that room. Yeah. It's so cool back there.
Well, the weird thing is, as soon as the state, going out and presenting,
yes,
that's when I'm like, I feel fine doing this, and that's when all of the athletes start going I'm not really comfortable talking in front of people. And you're like, well, don't worry about it. I got this part. You do the part where you throw the ball and you block it and you tackle, and I'll do this.
Jon Hamm here on the Rich Eisen Show. I ask you this, I forget it. Are you a Cardinals guy, still in Arizona, or because of the St. Louis thing? Or do you have a football team? Is it the Broncos or something like that? I'm trying to remember what you told me once.
I confronted Roger Goodell once.
Okay.
As we've all imagined in our minds doing. And I said, you've successfully taken 2 franchises from my city, and I want retribution. So my retribution is simply rooting for the Chiefs. I've just pushed it to the west side of the state. Most people don't realize this, but Kansas City is in fact in Missouri, and I can do that with impunity. And the fact that they're super good right now has nothing to do with my allegiance.
That's what I was to say. Is did you make that maneuver? When? I mean, you got to make sure here.
It didn't hurt that Mahomes exploded right around the time I was decided to become a Chiefs fan. It certainly didn't hurt. And who doesn't like Andy Reid? I mean, come on.
I know.
I guess it's a combination.
Well, and again, your St. Louis credentials are rock solid, Jon. There's no doubt about that. And I'd like to bring up one thing that we talked about the last time here on the new audience for the show here on Peacock is you rocking a St. Louis Cardinals baseball hat to a World Series game at Wrigley Field. And how did that go for you, Jon, that night?
Well, it was a controversial statement for some people. I didn't really mean anything by it other than I certainly wasn't going to wear a Cubs hat. I needed a hat.
Yes.
And I wasn't going to wear an Indians. I mean, what hat? I explained it to quite a few Cubs fans on the day who, when, like most things, it's easy to get your dander up when you're screaming anonymously on the radio or in a comment section. But when you speak to somebody in person, you generally, the cooler heads prevail. So in person, when I spoke to people, it was, well, of course you're going to wear. You're a Cardinal fan. That's fine. We're very happy for you. With the exception of one very particular Cubs fan who took my hat off and threw it over the wall and into the alley of the bar that we were all in. And that Cubs fan was Bill Murray.
Okay. Now then, when did you realize it was Bill Murray? Did you have like a flash of indignity and like
no.
This fisticuffs coming?
I was very aware that Billy was there because I was. It was after Game 5, which they won, and we were myself, Joel Murray, who was a co-star on Mad Men with me and a very good friend of mine, as well as. The Murray clan runs pretty deep, although they did lose their oldest brother this year, rest in peace. They run about 6 or 7 siblings in that family. There's a Brian Doyle.
Yes.
There's a Joel. There's several Murrays. Chad Michael. I'm not sure if he's related.
Great reference, Jon.
So,
that's great. Yeah.
So I believe one of their sisters was there that night. It was a party. It was very exciting. Chris Chelios was there. Eddie Vedder was there.
Damn.
Chicago royalty was out in force that night. And I was there with one of my managers who's from the South Side Chicago, another friend of mine who flew in to see the game. And so it was a very celebratory evening, and I was wearing my hat, and people were singing and karaokeing and dancing. We're all in sort of the back outside space of a bar right near Wrigley. And Billy, who I had met on several occasions, and I wouldn't say that I know well, but I definitely know enough to say hi, said hi in a sort of a jubilant, dancing, excited way, and at the same time said, "Get this hat off your head," and plucked it off the top of my head and kind of reverse tossed it over the wall into the alley. And then I watched it sort of sail into the night, and I thought, well, I guess I'll never see that again. And I followed it down, and I looked to the left on the wall that he had thrown it over, and there was a door to the alley. So I just opened the door, and I took 3 steps out and picked my hat up off the ground and put it back on my head and walked back into the party. Now,
that's fandom, sir. Yes.
The end of the story is even better because up to maybe a year or so later, and now this whole story has been printed in the Chicago Tribune.
Yes.
Jon Hamm is punking the Cubs by wearing a hat from the Cardinals. It's from none of this I knew. I just wore the hat because I thought it was cool. I got it on a photo shoot. So I'm hosting an event for the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Illinois, based in Chicago. Now, I'm not from Illinois. I'm from St. Louis, but there's a friendly rivalry, yada, yada. Here we are. So part of the thing is a live auction. And so one of the things was I said I would auction off the hat that I wore to the World Series. You can blow it up like the Steve Bartman ball. You can run it over with a truck. You can give it to your friend from St. Louis. Whatever you want to do, it's all for the kids. I'm very happy to do it. And I think it sold for like $5,000 or $6,000. So nice. Somebody had in the audience had a real grudge against that hat, or is wearing it today. I don't know.
So I guess the moral of the story is that if your hat gets thrown off of your head by anybody, it could be comedy, film royalty, television, comedy, film royalty, or anyone, and it's thrown into some sort of Chicago street water stream, pick up the hat, put it back on your head because it could make some money for charity. Right, John?
Exactly. You never. The moral of the story is you never know.
You never know. That's the story, and we give you a clap for that. It's wonderful. It's wonderful, especially since, again, the reason why you wore it is functionality. You needed a hat.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
What are you going to go to a baseball game and wear what am I going to wear, a colonial tricorn? No, I'm going to wear a baseball cap.
Unless you go to a Patriots game, you could do that and fire off a cannon or something like that.
I would never do.
You'd never go to Patriots. Jon Hamm here on the Rich Eisen Show. I don't know how to make the turn. I'll just make it anyway. Wild Mountain Thyme is available in theaters and on demand this Friday. Christopher Walken, that had to be something. I know you're not in a lot of scenes with him, but that had to be quite something for you to be on a set with some royalty on that front, John?
Oh, yeah, we shot this movie in Ireland, in County Mayo, Ireland, in a small town, near a small town called Ballina, which, weirdly enough, is where Joe Biden's family is from. Back in the days. So they were very excited about recent events. But it was an amazing opportunity to get to work with not only Chris Walken, but a guy named John Patrick Shanley, who wrote and directed the film, who's written such films as Moonstruck, Joe versus the Volcano,
sure.
Doubt. He's he's one of my kind of heroes of stage and screen from a writing and directing standpoint. And I've just wanted to meet him and work with him forever, and it turned out the feeling was mutual, and he offered me this part in this movie, and I thought, this is awesome because I get to work on the thing, then B, this is awesome because I don't have to do an Irish accent.
Yes.
So it was a win-win for me. But then I read the script, and it's based on a play called Outside Mullingar that I had seen a long time ago that I really loved, and I thought he did a great job of adapting the script, and it's basically it's an old-fashioned movie. It's a fable. It's a love story that takes place in kind of outside of time in this magical part of Ireland that's really quite fanciful and beautiful and funny and fun. But really, it's one of those rare things in the community today that just has no snark. It's just purely, it wears its heart on its sleeve and it's proud to do it. And so I've seen the film. It's very good. Emily Blunt and Jamie Dornan, who play the sort of star-crossed lovers at the center of the story, are phenomenal in it. Deirdre Malloy and Chris Walken, as you mentioned, play the mother and father of the two leads mentioned previously, and they're phenomenal. And then it's cast with an amazing sort of cast of characters. Barry McGovern is in it, who people will recognize from a lot of John Patrick Shanley's movies. It's just a beautiful film, and it's like, for the holiday season, for what we've all been through for 2020, it is the perfect sort of tonic to when you sit down on the couch, or since no one can go to movie theaters, or maybe I don't know if you rent a movie theater, but if you sit down on the couch and load it up, it's an hour and a half of your time that you'll be very happy to. You'll feel good after. I think we all need.
Available in theaters if you can, or on demand this very Friday, December 11th. Jon Hamm, this is as delightful as I hoped it would be, and I knew it would be, quite frankly.
Rich,
thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, pleasure. Have a happy holiday. If I see you before then, my love to your family.
Same to you.
And I don't know, go Jets. That'd be amazing.
Well, you better say that since you're the new defensive coordinator, John. I mean, you got to be all in. You got to be all in if this is it.
Here's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
When I take over this defense,
yes,
they're not a bad team, by the way. When I take over this defense and start running it with some credibility, I'm going to get fired at the end of the season because we're going to end up losing Trevor Lawrence. We're going to win out.
Yep.
We're going to bust out a bunch of people's suicide leagues.
Yep.
And I'm going to get fired.
Well,
because we're going to lose the number one pick.
There you go. There you go. The voice of two all or nothings saying it's nothing.
All or nothing.
That's it.
There you go.
It's nothing is what Jon Hamm is saying. Thanks for the call, John. You take care.
You got it. Great talking with you, Rich.
You're right back at you. That's Jon Hamm, Wild Mountain Thyme. Everybody check it out in theaters and on demand this Friday, December 11th. That's great. He is so funny, man.
Amazing.
God, he cracks me up. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.